Hello, my name is Randi Lee. Welcome to the yoga tutorial breakdown. Right now I'm going to walk you through splits, something that a lot of people would love to do. It's something that I've always been able to do since I was a kid, so if you can't do it right off the bat when you're practicing, then don't feel bad because most people can't. But splits are one of those postures that there's not a whole lot leading up to the development of the split itself. Some postures you can do little workups to get deeper into the posture. This will do some stretching of the hamstrings and then the quads and then the hip flexors, but really the only way you can get into a split is by getting into the split. So you'll probably start off a little higher away from the floor, and as you progress with your practice, it'll get lower and lower. But what I'd like to show you is how I work my way into the hip flexor and hamstring stretches, but then also the procedure of going down to the floor and then also coming back up. So let's start by coming to hands and knees. As usual, I like to start off with a little bit of cat-cow stretching. And you may notice over here off to the side, I've got a couple books that I'm going to be using as blocks to assist me. And also something to remember, sit back in extended child's pose. During this breakdown, I'm not going to hold the postures for as long as I'm suggesting. I'm just showing you how to get into it, and then you can take it at your own pace. So as you come up to down dog. Inhale, one leg to the sky, doesn't matter which. Step forward and watch as my back foot steps about a third of the way in. Here's where you can take your books if you want to. And here's where you can make your arms grow another couple inches. That's the nice thing about having the books or the blocks or whatever else you can get that's stable for you to balance. So if you take your front leg and work it towards straight, the toes you can curl back and up towards the shin just to feel the lengthening in the back of the leg. You're working your hamstring here. So allow the belly of your hamstring, the belly of your front leg, allow that to be what you're stretching. So keep reaching long through the crown of the head. And if you feel that your hamstring is starting to soften, then you can get a little bit deeper. Options to bend your elbows. This is head to knee pose. Or extend the arms up towards the top of your mat. So you'll do that on both sides. Remove the books or blocks before you move. Step one foot back. The other leg comes forward. Again, back foot steps a third of the way in. Bringing your blocks or books back under the shoulders. And this is where you notice one leg is tighter than the other. These postures that we do one side at a time really show some insight into the imbalances on the left and right side of our bodies. So let's keep reaching long through the crown of the head. Feel the hamstring lengthen. Option to soften down or extend your arms up longer. So again, I'm just showing you these postures briefly, but feel free to stay here for 3 to 5 breaths, wherever you happen to be. Plant the hands back, remove the blocks or books, step that foot back, come to down dog. So from here, we'll just step forward to the front of the mat. Slowly roll to standing or swan rise, up to you. I always try to get in and out of postures with some kind of procedure or organized movement, because as soon as we move or jump from one posture to the other without being careful with the transition in between, then that's when things can happen. You might move a little bit funny. So just be careful when you're moving from spot to spot or posture to posture to be careful and move slowly and fluidly throughout that transition. So now we are going to bring the hands to the hips. Lift the right knee, balancing on left foot. And as you exhale, step back, hinging forward, placing that foot back. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, bending the front knee. Step that front foot back, and then drop to the knees. extended child's pose. We're loosening the lower back. Take a couple breaths here, 3 to 5. Coming back to the knees, curl the toes under, step that left foot forward, drop to the back knee. So if you take a side angle from here, you'll see that my back leg, knee is to the floor, toes are curled under. The reason why I do that is because my knee is a little bit sensitive. So if you curl the toes under, then you can gently press a little bit of pressure into those toes and take just the slightest amount of pressure off of your knee. You don't actually have to lift the knee, but you can if you'd like to. Other option is to bring the top of the foot to the floor. So from here, we're working on our right hip flexor. That's this area right here to the front of the hip. Again, you can bring the books or blocks, and then you start to lift yourself higher, ribs away from the thigh. Maybe you even walk your hands up to the knee. And then from here, you soften back down. So a little bit of an activity here by strengthening and then softening. So press into your front foot, lift your hips away from the floor slightly, and then soften back down. Do that a few times. And then maybe you even take your hands to your low back and soften your hips forward. So you should really feel a big opening here in the front side of your right hip. From here, another option is to squeeze elbows together, squeeze shoulder blades together, open through the heart, keep reaching long through the crown of the head, and then maybe you start to pour the crown of the head up and back. Coming back up. Take a half Hanuman, plant the hands. So half Hanuman is actually half split. So you see the front leg lengthens, my hips shift back. You can flex your foot, get a deeper stretch here. So we're going to do that on the other side as well. Curl the back toes under, step the front foot back, and then just kind of nonchalantly step your other foot forward. Back knee lowers. Toes can be curled under or top the foot to the floor, your option. Also, if you have a little pillow or a knee pad that you want to put there, you can do that as well. So we're softening the hips down to the floor. Again, option to walk the hands up to the knee or use your books or blocks. And we're softening that left hip flexor, pressing, and then softening. So we're engaging the muscle, warming it up, and then softening. Maybe you take your hands to the hips, squeeze elbows together, squeeze the ribs, or open the ribs, squeeze shoulder blades, opening through the ribs, and then maybe you lift up and back. Coming back up after a few breaths. Half Hanuman. Reverse the direction of the hips, moving back, flex the front foot. Front leg lengthens. So you notice we do a lot of hip flexor opening and also a lot of hamstring opening. So that's what a split is all about. Move the blocks or books, lift off of the knee, step back. So now we are going to work into the actual split. Inhale your left leg to the sky, draw it forward, step it forward. So here's where the scooching comes in. I like to say wiggle the back foot back and then curl the toes under of the front foot, scooch the foot forward. So inchworm it forward. And you're going to keep doing this. Bring the blocks here. This is where they come in most handy. Solidify yourself here on the blocks. Don't lock the elbows, but you're going to wiggle that back foot back. Another option and variation is to drop the back knee and do the grab and pull. So you're going to extend the toes longer, grab and pull the leg further back. So you can do this again. Keep going, keep going. If you notice, my hip is not open. So I'm not opening my hip to get deeper to the floor. I'm keeping my hip squared forward. That's the hard part, because a lot of us, we like to kind of flop into it and just say, okay, I'm down, I'm all the way, but your hip is wide open. So we're going to close the hip towards the floor. Keep grabbing and pulling with that back foot and sliding perhaps that front foot forward, however you can get it. Adjust your blocks or books as you need to, as you soften down. And then when you get to your furthest point, maybe you come all the way down. then your hips are still squared. You should really feel this in that right hip flexor and left hamstring. Here's the cue. Breathe and soften your face. Try not to panic. You have control over this situation. So we're going to slowly come out. How do you do that? However it works for you. So I'll tell you to slowly press into your hands, scoot your front foot back, and then start to toe heel your back foot in. You may use a different method. So just figure out what works best for you. Come back to all fours, extended child's pose. So we'll do this on the opposite side as well. And give me a moment while I set up. Bring your blocks or books along with you. Too far. Make sure you have them within arm's reach. That's the cue, or that's the key. So we are going to, I forget how I got into this last time, down dog. Starting in down dog, inhale right leg high, step forward between the hands, and then this is where you start to soften down. So you're going to grab and pull or wiggle your back foot further away. Dropping the back knee if you choose when you get low enough. Grab and pull with the toes. Grab and pull. Wiggle your front foot forward, slide it forward, adjust your blocks under your hands. Start to soften down, softening, softening. Toes curl under, pull the foot back. Toes curl under, pull the foot back. Again, that hip stays square towards the floor. And then you eventually maybe soften down. Inhaling. Exhaling. Soften the face, soften the muscles. And if you feel like you've gone too far, press into the hands, lift yourself slightly out of it. Stay calm. I'll show you the other method to get out of it. This is my lazy man's method. Lower down, bend your knees. Bring the legs forward. Sometimes you can come to an extended child's pose, or maybe you just want to get out of it and come to seated. Up to you. But take a moment just to kind of feel how your hips and hamstrings feel. They're probably rather awake right now. So just be mindful that when you move slowly. Take it at your own pace. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.